Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. I've got a really exciting show today to talk about a group of exploration companies that I'm very bullish on. What I really appreciate about these companies as well, a lot of companies are lamenting the challenging period we're going through with the gold and the mining stocks. These companies are doing their job. They're out there doing exploration. I often think that sometimes these mining company executives in the exploration space want to be market timers, and they really are not very good at it. And I believe that we're close to a significant turnaround in the price of gold. And when that happens, you want to be able to be putting out news releases, not lamenting the challenging period we're going through. So let me get to gold right now, and I'll pull up this chart. This is the gold chart going back a little over a year. And something that I find quite interesting is that you see there was a triple bottom back here about a year ago, and then a significant blast off. Then you saw a double bottom here and another significant blast off. I think we're now in another significant double bottom and ready for another blast off. This 200-day moving average is very bullish, and we're not right now trading slightly above that 200-day moving average. So then you want to look at, well, what are possible catalysts that can move the price of gold much higher? And I think that could happen this week. The BRIC nations are meeting this week in South Africa. And I think there could be some serious fireworks coming out of that meeting. What I'm expecting to see out of that meeting is that these countries and the BRICS nations start talking about alternative world reserve currencies. And now the US dollar has benefited from that for a long time, but I think that these countries are wanting to see alternatives to that. Now, does that mean that I think that the days of the world reserve currency being the US dollar are going to be over this week? Certainly not. But the makings or the foundation of these shifts, I think, could take place this week. And some of the things that I'm expecting to see out of this is that I believe that you're going to hear them talking about using their domestic currencies for world trade. You see, there's a couple of sides of the coin to the US dollar world reserve currency. And one is held as an asset. US dollar and US debt is held as a reserve in a lot of central banks. The other is that it's used dominantly as the currency for trade. And I think that these BRICS nations want competition, healthy competition for those two sides of the coin. And when it comes to trade, I think you're going to start to hear them talking about doing more trade in their domestic currencies. Instead of converting their domestic currencies into US dollar to then trade, whether it's oil or other natural resources or products, I think that that's a bit inefficient. I could see that they want to start to have some alternatives. And one of those alternatives could certainly be that they create or start to have more significant trade in their domestic currencies. Another thing that I think you're going to start to hear about is that gold will start to play a bigger role in world trade. Take, for example, something like gold for oil, or gold for wheat, or gold for copper and other products that these countries And a reason that I believe that that is in the cards is because since the 2008 economic crisis, there's been a significant amount of buying by the central bankers in these BRICS nations of gold. And so they're putting a lot of gold into their reserves. 2022 was the biggest year after the global economic crisis. And 2023 is on record to be even a more significant year. And so I think that gold will start to play a bigger role in world trade. And I think they're going to start talking about the foundation of some sort of a BRICS-backed currency, maybe the yuan of China or something like that, as a means to do international trade. And the bottom line is, I think that their actions, as you often hear, actions speak louder than words. And the fact that they're selling US dollars and selling US treasuries and owning more gold is a writing on the wall that they want these changes to happen. So I think that we could see a catalyst that could be quite significant that could help the price of gold. And so I'm very optimistic about that. But, you know, when it comes to how to play that, I believe that the gold stocks, the copper stocks, the other metal stocks are the way to go, because right now we're seeing them at all-time lows, trading on all-time low volumes, and the sentiment is very poor. And, you know, the crowd always gets it wrong. And I think that these are indications that the crowd is going to get it wrong again. And there is some big torque available for investors in the stocks, the gold stocks, the copper stocks, the silver stocks, these other stocks that are all suffering right now, and affording investors tremendous opportunities. It reminds me of the year 2000, just prior to the 2001 to 2011 decade-long bull market for the price of gold and other metals. I see the same setup. We saw the same kind of low volumes. We saw the same kind of valuations at super cheap valuations prior to that decade-long bull market. And I think we've got that in the cards. And then in reality, I think it started back here when gold was down around 1,600 about a year ago, when it triple bottomed. It's up significantly from that. And I believe that we're already into the start of a long-term bull market with the potential catalyst this week. So as I believe that the torque is best in the exploration stocks, I've got a batch of exploration stocks to talk to you about today. These companies are doing a lot of work right now, and I like their chances to deliver from that work in a more bullish market for the price of gold. So let's start with Dynasty Gold, who put out a news release today, is pleased to announce that the phase 1 of 2023 drill program is completed with a total of 2,344 meters drilled in 12 holes in both the East and West Pelham zones. Drill core has been logged, split, and samples have been shipped to ALS Global Lab in Winnipeg. Now, a lot of the delays that have been happening in the labs is due to sample preparation. And when you send it to the ALS Vancouver lab, you're dealing with a lot of competition. Winnipeg, not so busy, so they can do the sample preparation, and then they send the concentrate to the Vancouver lab, and they do the assaying there. And this drilling that they did is to follow up on some spectacular holes that they got in their fall 2022 drill program in DP 2202, 03, and 04. What is exciting about that is they got 70 some meters of 8.46 grams per ton gold, and then they also had some spectacular high grade over 1.5 meters of 246 grams per ton of gold. There was another interval in there of the 1.5 was part of 3 meters of 151 grams per ton of gold. So this Thundercloud project is sitting on a very powerful gold mineralizing system. And Ivy Chong, who's the president and chief executive officer of the company, stated, and I quote, "We have an excellent team of geologists working on the Thundercloud project. It includes Mr. Jim Rogers, who visited the property to study the surface outcrops and did a detailed review of the drill core. Jim has extensive experience with orogenic gold systems while working as the regional exploration manager for Gold Corp at the Red Lake mine. Our drilling crew is off on a short break while waiting for the assay results. We are very excited about the potential to have found an important high-grade gold system. Also, we would like to thank the Laboucan First Nations for providing our accommodations and people that have been very helpful with our summer 2023 drill program." Now, I do my homework, and I've had a chance to talk to Ivy about bringing Jim Rogers in. And, Jim Rogers is a very talented guy, worked at the regional exploration manager for Gold Corp, and worked, in fact, with Rob McEwen, who not too long ago did a significant private placement into Dynasty. And so these Red Lake experience guys are starting to get excited about what Dynasty Gold has at Thundercloud. And I actually had a chance to talk to Ivy about Jim, and she was very positive about the technical work and report that he put together for the company upon his visit and observation of outcrops and the drill core. And basically what he was talking about is that, you've got the right kind of structural story here for an orogenic gold system. It's in a greenstone belt. You've got the secondary faulting, which is important in these orogenic gold systems. All the right kind of alteration that is consistent with these orogenic gold systems. And that, based on his experience at the Red Lake mine, he's seeing the alteration similar to the Red Lake mine at the Thundercloud project, and that this alteration and structural movement is necessary for ore development. Now, Ivy is very eager to get an interview together with me and Jim Rogers, and I'm looking forward to that myself. It looks like we might be able to get that together for you sometime early next week. But at the end of the day, I'm very I really like these orogenic gold systems because they can be absolute company makers. They were for Gold Corp. It went from a small company to a big company that at one time was one of the lowest cost producers of gold in the business. Very low cost and high margins because the grades were so high. And, here you've got a project that looks to have all the geological characteristics of an orogenic gold system, like the geological indicators that you saw at the Red Lake mine. And now you got the exploration manager for Gold Corp, former exploration manager for Gold Corp, is now involved with Dynasty on the Thundercloud project. and the guy who ran the company is a big shareholder. So yeah, do your homework on Dynasty. I'm really happy to have them as a sponsor of my shows. It allows me to follow their developments very closely, keep in close contact with them, and do important interviews. And I'm really looking forward to the one with Jim Rogers. Alrighty, so now I want to talk about Canadian Gold Corp. This is another company that Rob McEwen is involved with, in that he is the largest shareholder of this company. And they have the Tartan mine near Flin Flon, Manitoba, that they've been drilling, and probably assay results are not that far away. What really has me excited about this project is this cross section here that'll help you understand. You see these pinks and reds, they are the high grade, anything over 40-gram grade thickness. So this is what you want to be seeing. And what you see here is very good continuity down to about 300 meters. Then they had less drilling deeper, but they got that good continuity continuing down here. And down here where they only had a couple of holes, look at this thick intersection, 12.6 meters of 23.8 grams per ton of gold. 4.15 meters of 9.7 grams per ton of gold. You've got a big section here that is quite exciting, and that's what they've been targeting. Now, you never know in these kind of systems, you could have faulting offsetting the mineralization, but this looks like the plumbing to this mineralization that they got up here. And if that proves to be the case, Canadian Gold Corp is going to get a lot of attention, and it has all the hallmarks to me of an orogenic gold system. Look at this highlight where you can see it even better, with this minimal drilling but thick intersections of very high grade, and now they're drilling to extend that. So I'm really looking forward to assay results from that project. I think they're onto something very serious here, and you want to do your homework on Canadian Gold Corp. I've had an interview with Ian Ball and Rob McEwen about this particular company that you can find on my YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News, or also on my Substack at rocksandstocks.substack.com. Alrighty, next company up is Goliath. Goliath Resources has just been on a wave of excellent news. They started drilling on their project in the Golden Triangle. Then they put out a series of news releases where they saw visible gold in their drill core. And now they've started to put out results, and look at these results. 23 meters of 21 grams per ton of gold equivalent, including 14 meters of 33.75 grams per ton of gold at the Sherbet Golden Gate feeder zone in the Golden Triangle. And they talk about the impressive metal factor of 485 gram meters, which is pretty exceptional. You don't need a lot of that to start having a very profitable mine. And here they show you some of the visible gold that resulted in those grades that are in the headline. Here is where the hole was drilled, and this, you can see a series of holes in here. This Sherbet zone is quite large, and they've drilled a bunch of holes into it, and it's got an average thickness about 6.85 meters and over 6 grams of gold. So some really nice high-grade material. What's also interesting is here's a fault that comes down from this direction, and then you've got a fault that goes all the way from here over to here. And they drilled visible gold over here, and here's another fault. They are really getting a good handle on the faulting, which is the conduit for the gold mineralization. But what they're also getting a handle on is the potential that there could be one big, powerful mineralizing system that is not just driving the mineralization at Sherbet, but kilometers away, they're getting the same kind of rock that they saw at the surface at the Sherbet zone, kilometers away. And, you know, this begs the question, well, is this all part of one big system? And in fact, there was a paper that was written by the folks at the Colorado School of Mines that they summarized on their website. You can find that news release. And it suggests that there is one big, powerful mineralizing system. So if you're at the extent or the distal portion, as they say in geology, of that system, and you're getting such high grade, it's indicative of the long-lived, powerful mineralizing system that caused that distal mineralization. I believe that this company is looking at something that could be over a 5 million ounce target at their project. And this would make it one of the most important new discoveries in the Golden Triangle in many years, possibly decades. And saying that is a pretty big statement because this is such a prolific region of British Columbia, Canada. And yet that's what the drilling is suggesting. That's what the papers are suggesting, that they are looking at a very big and high-grade system here and getting a handle on the plumbing of that system. And so you know, I've said it before, and I'm gaining more and more confidence that I'll be proven correct when I say that this is quite possibly the most important new discovery of gold in the Golden Triangle, and that's a very exciting proposition, especially when you're looking at a company with only a $70 million valuation. And yet have hit a lot of holes with a lot of gold, a lot of high-grade gold, a lot of visible gold. I read a statistic from this news release, 33% of the holes that they've drilled so far this year have returned visible gold. It's a tremendous opportunity for investors. I'm really happy to have them on as sponsors. And I've done interviews with their management and their geological exploration team. And these guys have a great project. They've got great people involved that are doing a fantastic job and are really understanding the quality of the project and how to predictably get into the guts of that system, which is exactly what is happening right now with their drilling. They've just started to release assay results, so there's going to have a whole lot more assay results from possibly here until the end of this year. So stay tuned for more news from Goliath. All right, now I'm going to move over to Blackrock Silver. Blackrock Silver has the West Tonopah project near Tonopah, Nevada. It has a resource, and they're doing a bunch of work to upgrade that resource. I'm very excited about that because I see a lot of characteristics of what happened for Silvercrest at their Las Chispas mine. They started out with a similar sized maiden resource, grew that, ultimately built a mine, and now they're producing silver for a very low cost. I think about $12 an ounce of cost, and they're selling it at over $20 an ounce. So it's a cash-making machine, and I think that Tonopah has that kind of potential, the West Tonopah project. But this Silver Cloud project really has had my attention since last year when they announced that they hit 70 grams of gold and 600 grams of silver over 1.5 meters in an epithermal vein system. So one of the milestones that you have to pass when you're in a in an epithermal vein system is you need to find the boiling zone of that epithermal vein system, or that epithermal vein in this case. I did a bit of a Freudian slip there that I'm going to talk about a little bit later by saying system instead of one. But when you hit 70 grams of gold and 600 grams of silver, you're definitely in the boiling zone of an epithermal vein system. And then, so this year what they did is they're expanding along strike of that of that hit that they had in this epithermal vein. I'm very optimistic that they're going to have some great results in the not too distant future come from that. Then looking at it from a regional perspective, to the north, you've got the north and west, you've got the Midas mine, an high-grade epithermal vein system. To the east, you've got the Hollister, another high-grade epithermal vein system. And now these guys have found one. Earlier, I did a bit of a Freudian slip there, and I said a system. And that's the case in these epithermal vein systems, is often where you find one, you find more. And sometimes you can find blind veins that don't make their way all the way to surface. And the way you find them is through your drilling. So I think that not only do they have an exceptional vein so far, I think they're going to find more veins, and they're going to keep expanding on this boiling zone that they've already tagged in the vein that they hit at their Northwest Canyon target. So stay tuned for more news from Blackrock Silver out of their Tonopah project, and also Silver Cloud. They are a sponsor of my shows, so I'm able to do a lot of homework on them. And I've had the pleasure of interviewing Andrew Pollard, who's the CEO of the company, and we've discussed these projects, both Silver Cloud and Tonopah, on several occasions. You can find them on my YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News, or also on my Substack at rocksandstocks.substack.com. All right, now I've got a company that's not a sponsor, but I'm very impressed with what these guys have found. They've got this, there's a partnership between Aston Bay and American West Metals. And they announced fourth diamond drill hole hits thick interval of visual copper sulfides at the Storm Copper Project in Canada. Here are the highlights. Outstanding 100% drilling success rate continues with sediment-hosted copper system confirmed in an untested area of the Storm project. Sediment-hosted copper systems can be just off the charts if you find one. DRC in Africa is a place where they found these, and these can be phenomenally big. And they've now tagged into what looks like one. They intersected thick 18.5 meter zone of visual copper sulfide, chalcocite and chalcopyrite between 339 and 357 meters downhole, which correlates with the prospective sediment-hosted copper horizon intersected at all diamond drill holes this season. Hole 4 extends the apparent strike of the prospective copper horizon a further 2 kilometers to the west of ST 2303. So these guys are not doing tiny little step outs. And here's the reason why. The drill hole was targeting a large gravity anomaly located south of the Southern Graben Fault, as well as the fault itself, validating the effectiveness of gravity and identifying copper mineralization. So they're using geophysics and gravity surveys, and it's working like a charm. They talk about an untested 880 by 470 meter fixed loop electromagnetic FLEM conductor is located immediately south of ST 2304, indicating potential for further strong copper mineralization in the area. Successful drill results demonstrate further evidence of a belt scale copper system. So you're not just talking about one deposit, you're talking about an entire belt. And that's tremendously exciting. There's not a lot of great copper exploration projects out there, but this is definitely one. They note that drilling continues at the Storm project with assay results pending and expected within the next 2 weeks. So coming into September, when I think there's going to be a much better market for mining exploration stocks, these guys are going to have potential catalysts. Here's some more details. Thomas Ulrich, who's the COO of Aston Bay, said, and I quote, "This is a phenomenal success rate for testing blind targets that once again points to the immense potential for new discoveries at Storm. The evidence mounts for a regional scale copper system as predicted by our geological model. We are hitting copper in the same stratigraphic horizon in every widely spaced drill hole. The ground gravity geophysical survey conducted by Scott Smith's team at initial exploration this spring has proven its metal as a robust and effective method of delineating sulfide mineralization in the subsurface at Storm. A critical upshot of this is that the new gravity data indicates that the large gravity anomalies from the historic surveys previously thought to be too deep to be of interest are potentially well within reach. We're pleased with American West is advancing the development of potential of the high-grade near-surface copper mineralization at Storm, and extremely excited for the advances made in the game-changing discoveries of the sediment-hosted copper mineralization we predicted lurked in the subsurface." What's really interesting about this is that they're using two styles of geophysical surveys. One is EM or electromagnetic, so that gives you that kind of response, and then you've got gravity. And the gravity seems to be working very good at depth, and the EM very good at the near surface mineralization. So that geophysical work is working like a charm, and this is what they're finding. Look at the sulfides that you can see: breccia-chalcocite, dark gray, and pyrite, yellow brassy in the drill core. And here, this is just look at these geophysical anomalies. These are very high density anomalies and with a shell around them. And just look at the immense size. You've got these all over. And then I was listening to a presentation by the CEO of American West, and he talks about these continuing way down here as well. So, you know, when they talk about a district scale or an entire belt, this is why they make those kind of statements. And if that's proved correctly, this will be a huge winner. And here you can see the success they're having with the geophysics and the close proximity to faulting. Very exciting exploration project, and I think they're onto something spectacular. And there's a lot of catalysts coming out. And the way that the deal is structured, Aston Bay, the American West people are earning an 80% interest, and then Aston Bay will have a 20% interest carried through to production. This is very interesting because American West is going to have to keep issuing more stock to pay for the cost of bringing it into production, if that's the ultimate goal. And Aston Bay has a free ride on that, and they don't have to issue a bunch of stock in order to do all that work. And it is going to take a lot of work because these are massive targets. So just to drill them up to indicated or measured and indicated, and then do preliminary economic assessments, feasibility studies. This 20% interest could be the jewel in the crown because it's carried through to production. I know that I'm going to be following this project very closely. I think that the valuation is very modest. If they do in fact find an entire belt of SEDEX deposits, and all signals are good so far. So do your homework on Aston Bay. Okay, Copper Road Resources commences 2023 diamond drilling program in Batchewana Bay, Ontario. They talk about two targets they're going to get after in their JR zone. One is the Joe Grand Porphyry and the nearby Richards Breccia. And they're located about 12 kilometers from the former Tribag mine zone. And what has me really excited about this is that they believe that they have the porphyry over here. And then over here you look and these holes are over 1% copper in what's called the Richards Breccia pipe. Sometimes these breccia pipes alone can be very high grade copper mines. And they've got several of these breccia pipes, but this one's had a few holes into it and it's already got some good continuity at the top of the pipe. Now it looks like as you go deeper, the pipe expands. And you could see the same kind of thing in the mineralization, the copper mineralization. So they're going to be going after the Richards Breccia and the porphyry target that they have. And they highlight, actually, there's a good quote from John Timmons, who's the president and CEO of Copper Road, and commented, and I quote, "We are excited about the prospect of identifying an additional large-scale near-surface zone of copper, moly, silver, and gold mineralization in the heart of our 21,000 hectare project. Jurisdiction is becoming increasingly important in the modern quest for critical minerals, and our district-scale property in Sault Ste. Marie, 20 kilometers from the Trans-Canada Highway, checks all the boxes. There have been a very few new shallow copper discoveries in tier 1 jurisdictions in the past decade. Giving the potential large scale of the JR zone, Copper Road is poised to unlock significant value for shareholders, and we look forward to the results from the summer program." So they're cranking up the drill rig. It's underway now. Stay tuned for more news to come out of that. They are a sponsor of my shows. I've done a lot of homework on them and follow them very closely. Done interviews with their management that you can find on my YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News, or on my Substack at rocksandstocks.substack.com. I'm a big fan of copper exploration, but the problem is there's not a lot of great copper exploration stories out there. And Copper Road has a big land package in an area where there was historical mining. There are several zones that have been underexplored. And I think they've got a hell of a good project here, and you're going to hear a lot more about this as they get drilling and get news from that drilling. So do your homework on Copper Road. Okay, finally, Puma Exploration is another sponsor of my shows that I'm very positive about what they're doing in New Brunswick. And in this news release, just give me a second, they announced that they launched their Puma Exploration launches its 2023 drilling campaign at Williams Brook. They talk about it being a fully funded, that they're doing a minimum of 6,000 meters of focused drilling on their Lynx Gold zone. They want to show the continuity of the Lynx zone at depth and along strike, validate and refine the existing geological model, corroborate our current geophysical pathfinder tool. So their past drilling has revealed something quite spectacular to me. Look at all of this high-grade gold that they're finding in parallel zones that are all wide open at depth. This is suggestive. You're looking at a pretty significant area from side to side here, the high grade comes right to surface, and it's got excellent continuity so far. And now they're doing that depth targeting to try to show that. And lo and behold, they just put out a news release a couple days ago that Puma Exploration drills visible gold in the 2023 drilling program at Williams Brook, that they intercepted favorable rhyolite sediment contact at depth with a series of quartz veins with associated sulfide mineralization that typically carries gold. Several specks of visible gold were also observed in the quartz veins. Pictures of the core are shown below. So let's scroll down. As you can see, it looks like there's some sulfides here, and there's your specks of gold. So they're off to a great start, and they give you the highlights of the drilling. 11 holes completed, show pervasive alteration mineralization that typically carries high-grade gold mineralization. They got the right rhyolite sediment contact, has been intersected at depth and shows continuity. Projected targeted high-grade gold shoot area shows significant sulfide mineralization, pervasive alteration, and specks of visible gold in 2 holes. So as they're getting deeper, the system is holding together. Marcel Robillard, who's the CEO and president, stated, and I quote, "Our preliminary observations of the drill core are very exciting. We successfully hit the favorable contact and intercepted several quartz veins with pervasive alteration and sulfides at about 100-meter vertical depth, 50 meters deeper than what was drilled previously. We know that quartz veins with sulfides near favorable contact are an excellent indicator of gold mineralization, as evidenced by the presence of visible gold in 2 holes along the interpreted high-grade gold shoot. These preliminary observations indicate that our model is sound and confirm that a significant gold deposit is possible at Williams Brook Gold Project." I think that is an understatement to say it's possible. I think they've already hit it, and it has excellent expansion potential along strike. You can see all the surface outcrops with all the gold in that system. And here you can see some more of the visible gold. You can see the quartz veining and the contacts that they're talking about. And yeah, they've got a great project. It's starting to look to me like it could be an orogenic gold system. They kind of haven't sort of called it what they think it is yet, because they're still trying to understand it, but that's a hell of a good problem to have. And as I said, I think they've got something very serious at their Williams Brook project, and it's got great access. They can strip away the surface and get right down into the mineralization, and that's helping them to target. And as they target, they're continuing to see what they expect, and getting nice surprises with visible gold. I think you're going to hear a lot about this company in the coming months, and stay tuned for more coverage of them in my reports. Alrighty, as always, my shows are for information purposes only. I'm not making buying or selling recommendations. That's up to you and your financial advisors to assess your risk profile. But I also believe it's important to do your homework. And that includes, I mean to be a start of that and to help you continue that, because that's why I do my coverage I do in these reports and the interviews that I do with management. But then it's also important to go to their websites, look at their news releases, look at their corporate presentations, and you'll learn a lot about why I like these companies so much. And on that note, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.